Hello everybody, Arya here. Well, welcome to another set of videos, and no, this is not an April Fool's Day video, so don't be thinking it's a prank video, because it's not. But anywho, welcome to the first episode of Young Adult April. This is a video series where I'm going to be looking at various young adult novels as well as their film adaptations. So I thought I'd start off with one series that got me into reading, and I know technically it's not considered young adult, but it's still gonna be part of the series anyway, so don't at me. But anywho, I'm of course talking about Harry Potter. And today I'm going to be starting off by looking at the very first book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or as it's called here in the US, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So what I'm going to look at is that first I'm going to look at the plot, the development, and then the styles and themes. And if there's anything else I want to get into, then I'll do that. But I think that's all I'm going to do. So anywho. So, let's start things off with the plot of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Harry Potter has been living an ordinary life, constantly abused by his surly and cold aunt and uncle, Vernon and Petunia Dursley, and bullied by the spoiled son Dudley since the death of his parents 10 years prior. His life changes on the day of his 11th birthday when he receives a letter of acceptance into Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, delivered by a half-giant named Rubeus Hagrid, after previous letters had been destroyed by Harry's Uncle Vernon and his Aunt Petunia. Hagrid explains Harry's hidden past as the wizard son of James and Lily Potter, who were wizard and witch respectively, and how they were murdered by the most evil and powerful dark wizard of all time, Lord Voldemort, which resulted in the 1-year-old Harry being sent to live with his aunt and uncle. Somehow Voldemort wasn't able to kill Harry, but instead had his own powers removed and blasted away, sparking Harry's immense fame among the magical occult community. Hagrid introduces Harry to the wizarding world, bringing him to places such as Diagon Alley, a hidden London street where Harry gets his owl Hedwig and various school supplies, and Gringotts Wizard Bank, where he uncovers a fortune left to him by his parents in his vault. There, he is surprised to discover how famous he truly is among witches and wizards. A month later, Harry leaves the Dursleys' home to catch the Hogwarts Express from King's Cross Railway Station's secret Hogwarts platform 9 3/4. On the train, he quickly befriends fellow first-year Ronald Weasley and Hermione Granger, whose snobbiness and affinity for spells initially causes the two boys to dislike her. There, Harry also makes an enemy of yet another first-year, Draco Malfoy, which was prejudiced against Ron for his family's financial difficulties. Ugh. I hate Draco, by the way. He's my least favorite character. Ugh. After arriving at Hogwarts, the first years are assigned by the magical sorting hat to houses that best suit their personalities. The 4 houses being Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw. Harry hears from Ron about Slytherin's dark reputation, which is known to house potential dark witches and wizards, and thus objects to being sorted to Slytherin, despite the hat claiming that Harry has potential to develop under that house. He winds up in Gryffindor with Ron and Hermione, while Draco is sorted into Slytherin like his whole family before him. Why am I not surprised? As classes begin at Hogwarts, Harry discovers his innate talent for flying on broomsticks despite no prior experience, and is recruited into the house's Quidditch, a competitive wizard sport played in the air, team as a seeker. He also comes to dislike the school's potion master, Severus Snape, who was also the head of Slytherin House, who acts with bias in favor of members of his house while perpetually looking for opportunities to fail Harry and his friends. Malfoy tricks Harry and Ron into a duel in the trophy room to get them out of their rooms at night and secretly tells Filch, the school's caretaker, where they will be. Hermione intentionally is forced to come along after her attempts to stop them fail. Harry, Ron, and Hermione then find their Gryffindor student Neville asleep outside the common room area because he had forgotten the password to get in. After realizing the duel was a set would get them into trouble, they run away. They then discover a huge 3-headed dog standing guard over a trap door in a forbidden corridor. The school year is interrupted by the entrance of a troll into the school, which enters the girls' bathroom where Hermione was. However, she is saved by Harry and Ron, and, as a result, Hermione is grateful and the 3 become best friends. Yay! Couple Snape's recent leg injury as well as behavior. The recent events prompt Harry, Hermione, and Ron to suspect him to be looking for a way to enter the trap door. Ooh. Hermione forbids the boys from investigating for fear of expulsion, and instead makes Harry direct his attention to his first ever Quidditch game, where his broomstick begins to lose control and threatens to throw him off. This leads Hermione to suspect that Snape is jinxing Harry's broom due to his strange behavior during the match. After the excitement of winning the match has died down, Christmas approaches, and Harry receives an invisibility cloak from an anonymous source claiming that the cloak belonged to Harry's father. Using the cloak to explore the school at night to investigate the possibility of what is under the trapdoor, he discovers the mirror of Erised, in which the viewer sees his or her deepest desires come true. That's an interesting plot device. A visit to Hagrid's cottage at the foot of the school leads the trio to find a newspaper report stating that there had been an attempted robbery of Gringotts' vault, the same vault that Hagrid and Harry had visited when Harry was getting his school supplies. A further indiscretion from Hagrid allows him to work out that the object kept under that trapdoor is a Philosopher's Stone, which grants its user immortality, as well as the ability to turn any metal into pure gold. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Harry was also informed by a centaur named Ferenz in the forest that the plot to steal the stone is being orchestrated by none other than Voldemort himself, who schemes to use it to be restored back to his body and return to power. Oh, that's not good. When the school's headmaster Albus Dumbledore is lured from Hogwarts under false pretenses, Harry, Hermione, and Ron fear that the theft is imminent and descend through the trapdoor themselves. Oh, that should be fun. Here. There we go. They encounter a series of obstacles, each of which requires unique skills possessed by one of the three, and one of which requires Ron to sacrifice himself in a life-size game of wizard's chess. In the final room, Harry, now alone, finds Cornus Quirrell, the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, who had been the one working behind the scenes to kill Harry by first jinxing his broom and then letting a troll into the school. Traitor! Snape had been trying to protect Harry instead, who had wronged him. Now Quirrell is partially possessed by Voldemort, his face is spread on the back of Quirrell's head, but is constantly concealed by his oversized turban. How exactly did that happen, by the way? Seriously? Voldemort needs Harry's help to get past the final obstacle, the Mirror of Erised, forcing him to stand before the mirror. It recognizes Harry's lack of greed for the stone and surreptitiously deposits it into his pocket. As Quirrell attempts to seize the stone and kill Harry, his flesh burns on contact with the boy's skin and breaks into blisters. Harry's scar suddenly burns with pain when he passes into unconsciousness. 3 days later, he awakens in the school's infirmary, where Dumbledore explains his survival against Voldemort to be owed to his mother's sacrificing her life in order for him to live, leaving a powerful protective charm on Harry that lives in his blood. Burning Quirrell was possessed by hatred and greed. He also reveals himself as the one who sent his father's invisibility cloak, while Quirrell had been left to die by Voldemort and the stone has now been destroyed. The eventful school year ends at the final feast, during which Gryffindor wins the House Cup. Yay! Harry returns to Privet Drive for the summer, neglecting to tell the Dursleys that the use of spells is forbidden by underage wizards and witches, and thus anticipating some fun and peace over the holidays. Oh, Harry, you. Yeah, that might get you into a little bit of trouble there, but, oh well then. Anywho, now let's continue on with the development of this novel. The book, which is Rowling's novel debut, was written between approximately June 1990 and sometime in 1995. In 1990, Jo Rowling, as she preferred to be known, wanted to move on with her boyfriend to a flat in Manchester, and in her words, quote, "One weekend after flat hunting, I took the train back to London on my own, and the idea of Harry Potter fell into my head. A scrawny little black-haired bespectacled boy became more and more of a wizard to me. I began to write Philosopher's Stone that very evening, although the first couple of pages looked nothing like the finished product. Then Rowling's mother died, and to cope with her pain, Rowling transferred her own anguish to the orphan Harry. Rowling spent 6 years working on Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and after it was accepted by Bloomsbury, she obtained a grant of £8,000 from the Scottish Arts Council, which enabled her to plan the sequels. She sent the book to an agent and a publisher, and then the second agent she approached spent a year trying to sell the book to publishers, most of whom thought it was too long at about 90,000 words. Barry Cunningham, who was building a portfolio of distinctive fantasies by new authors for Bloomsbury children's books, recommended accepting the book, and the 8-year-old daughter of Bloomsbury's chief executive said it was, quote, "so much better than anything else." That's kind of true, so there you go. And last but not least, styles and themes. Philip Nell highlighted the influence of Jane Austen, whom Rowling has greatly admired since the age of 12. Both novels greatly encourage rereading because details that look insignificant foreshadow important events or characters much later in the storyline. For example, Sirius Black is briefly mentioned near the beginning of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and then becomes a major character in the 3rd to 5th books. Like Austen's heroines, Harry often has to re-examine his ideas near the ends of books. Some social behavior in the Harry Potter books is reminiscent of Austen. For example, the excited communal reading of letters. Both authors satirize social behavior and give characters names that express their personalities. However, in Nell's opinion, Rowling's humor is more based on caricature, and the names she invents are more like those found in Charles Dickens' stories. And Amanda Crockle noted that many of these express their own traits through allusions that run from ancient Roman mythology to 18th century German literature. Rowling, like the Narnia series author C.S. Lewis, thinks there's no rigid distinction between stories for children and for adults. Nell also noted that, like many good writers for children, Rowling combines literary genres, fantasy, young adult fiction, boarding school stories, I'm sorry if I get this wrong, Bildungsroman, and many others. Some reviewers compared Philosopher's Stone to the stories of Roald Dahl, who died in 1990. Many writers since the 1970s have been hailed as his successor, but none had attained anything near his popularity with children, and, in a poll conducted shortly after the launch of Philosopher's Stone, 7 of the 10 most popular children's books were by Dahl, including the one in top place. The only other really popular children's author of the late 1990s was an American R.L. Stine. Some of the story elements of Philosopher's Stone resembled parts in Dahl's stories. For example, the hero of James and Giant Peach lost his parents and had to live with a pair of unpleasant aunts, one fat and one thin, rather like Mr. and Mrs. Dursley, who treated Harry as a servant. However, Harry Potter was a distinctive creation, able to take on the responsibilities of an adult while remaining a child inside. That's very true. Librarian Nancy Knapp and marketing professor Stephen Brown noted the liveliness and detail of descriptions, especially of shop scenes such as Diagon Alley. Ted Brennan commented that Rowling's writing resembles that of Homer, quote, rapid, plain, and direct in expression. Stephen King admired, quote, the sort of playful details of which only British fantasies seem capable, and concluded that they worked because Rowling enjoys a quick giggle and then moves briskly forward. Nicholas Tucker described the early Harry Potter books as looking back to Victorian and Edwardian children's stories. Hogwarts was an old-style boarding school in which the teachers addressed pupils formally by their surnames and were most concerned with the reputations of the houses with which they were associated. Characters' personalities were plainly shown by their appearances, starting with the Dursleys. Evil or malicious characters were to be crushed rather than reformed, including Filch's cat, Mrs. Norris, and the hero, a mistreated orphan who found his true place in life, was charismatic and good at sports, but considerate and protective towards the weak. Several other commentators have stated that the books present a highly stratified society, including many social stereotypes. However, Karen Westerman drew parallels with 1990s Britain, a class system that was breaking down but defended by those whose power and status it upheld. The multi-ethnic composition of Hogwarts students, the racial tensions between the various intelligent species, and school bullying. Yeah, I can relate to school bullying because I was bullied a lot in school. Yeah. Susan Hall wrote that there is no rule of law in the books, as the actions of Ministry and Magic officials are unconstrained by laws, accountability, or any kind of legal challenge. This provides an opportunity for Voldemort to offer his own horrific version of order. As a side effect, Harry and Hermione, who were brought up in the highly regulated Muggle world, found solutions by thinking in ways unfamiliar to wizards. For example, Hermione knows that one obstacle to finding the Philosopher's Stone is a test of logic rather than magical power, and that most wizards have no chance of solving it. Clever girl. Nell suggested that the unflattering characterization of the extremely conventional, status-conscious, materialistic Dursleys was Rowling's reaction to the family policies of the British government in the early 1990s, which treated the married heterosexual couple as the, quote, preferred norm, while the author was a single mother. Harry's relationships with adult and juvenile wizards were based on affection and loyalty. This is reflected in his happiness whenever he is a temporary member of the Weasley family throughout the series, and in his treatment of Rubeus Hagrid and later Remus Lupin and Sirius Black as father figures. Yep, that's definitely true. So overall, this is a really great start to a fantastic book series, and I freaking love it. So overall, I give Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone 5 wands out of 5. Well, join me tomorrow as I take a look at the next book in the series, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So, until then, bye everyone.